8 minutes we got left before we chat. Grab your coffee, find your seat. Cowbells are ringing, that's our cue. Gonna share our thoughts with you. Laugh and gossip, spit in tea. Little secrets between you and me. Countdown ticking, let's get real. Heart to heart, it's how we feel. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all those tears.
A segment from Megan Kelly
of what we wear, brush our hair, let down our care. Conversations never lie in this moment with you and I.
Discovered
Clock is ticking, here we
in
go.
the CIA and stuff.
Words like rivers start to flow. Tune your ears and hear the beat. Girl talks makes our time
security
so
departments with the whole
trans
channel where they were talking, they're very dirty.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And that they're all getting fired.
I haven't heard a full.
We're just gonna listen to a real quick
Okay.
Clock is ticking, here we go. Words like rivers start to flow. Tune your ears and hear the beat. Girl talks makes our time so sweet. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all our tears.
Morning, y'all. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds before Girl Talk starts, so you have just enough time to grab yourself a cup of coffee and get in a comfy seat. We'll see you soon.
Catch Girl Talks every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GURLTAUX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't 8 minutes we got left before we chat.
Catch Girl Talks every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GURLTAUX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams. Scrolling through your daily memes. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen. Click subscribe, don't be mean. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's Girl Talk, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX. Log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. Girl Talk Show is here to stay. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
Should unmute. Unmute ourselves.
There we go.
Hi. Hey,
Hey.
how's everybody doing tonight? How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. It's
Yeah.
Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Almost Friday.
It's almost Friday. Yeah, there's been a lot of craziness going on in the realm of politics. Has been absolutely crazy. I have to say, if you don't have a mental illness, you're gonna get one. Psychoses seem like they're on the rise. I mean, I was talking to one of my mom's nurses today, and she said, you know, a lot of what we've said ourselves, like there's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's everywhere. That's all you see. All you see everywhere is just this absolute inundation of politics. And it's either if you are a right, and I hate saying right winger because I think that's a horrible, connotation because it's been turned to an ugly thing. But if you're right on the right and you're watching right stuff, and that's all you watch, you're only getting one side of the story.
Mhm.
If you're left and all you watch is that side, you're going crazy. And I think you need to find a way to have a healthy amount of watching a little bit of both sides so you can get both stories, but also a healthy side of turn it the fuck off.
Absolutely.
I kind of look at it like if you want to watch a horror movie, they tell you don't watch a horror movie and then go to sleep. Watch a horror movie and then watch a comedy or a sitcom or a cartoon.
Yeah.
At this point, politics is a horror movie.
Yes.
So you need to watch something after the fact so that you're not just inundated with all this ugliness and then you go to sleep on that.
Yeah.
I think it can be polarizing, but it also can be now at the same time, like I watch enough of it I just update my family for the most part. My husband will say, well, so what's happened today? Or my mom will say, what's happened today? What's Trump done today? Or what are they doing today? And I give them their updates or whatever. But I at the same time, I'm like one of those weird people too that I don't think you should watch it all the time, every day, and all hours of the day. I don't think you should be consumed by it. But I also don't think you should completely avoid it either and stick your nose in the sand, because the reason we're in the position we're in our country is because all of us had our noses in the sand. We had our heads buried up our own asses. And we weren't making the government accountable. We weren't asking for checks and balances. We weren't asking to see your books. And when something happens for so long, you do get to a point where they just kind of go like, they don't care. So we're just going to do this over here. And they're never even going to know about it because they don't ask. I mean, how many people did you know 10 years ago that ever watched a congressional hearing? Nobody.
No one.
Nobody watched. It was
No.
on C-SPAN.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you had
You
to
watch that if that was like your thing or that's what you did for a living. You were involved in that.
I was a journalist
realm
in
or
politics.
whatever.
Yeah.
So like those are the people that sat and watched that boring ass shit. But like
And it was boring.
it was boring. But now there's Kennedy, and he's always a good time.
Well, I mean, all of them, like, it's
Well,
now
Kennedy's
it's-
my favorite though. Like I would just hug that old man's neck just for just being so candid and raw about
I agree.
everything.
I agree.
And I love avocado toast. Like I love, but he said,
What did he say about avocado? Don't ruin avocado toast for me. Oh my God, no. Okay, I'm gonna
I
take.
was like, I
I'm gonna
won't
take
forgive
one,
you.
one of my
What?
earpieces out so I can only half hear it.
So during what was it? I want to say I don't know if it was at the inauguration or at one of the
Man, I
One of the
watched
rallies
so much
right
of this. How did
before.
I miss avocado
It was
toast?
somewhere, and he literally said, like, I can't remember the whole quote, but in there it was like, F you, all you avocado toast, tofu eating people. Oh my God. But I love avocado toast.
Well, I think
But he is so
I think you have to have fair avocado toasters because like I will not eat tofu.
No.
Ew, that's just disgusting. I don't eat fake
No.
shit.
No, I know.
At least avocados are real and they come. Okay, I can
Yes,
put my earpiece
exactly.
back in. I thought you were literally going to say he said something about it being super, super bad for us.
Oh no, no. And I'm not talking
just
about
was-
RFK Jr.
Yeah.
I'm talking about yeah.
Teddy. I still love him though.
I do too.
I love both
I
of
was
them.
like, you don't know what you're missing.
But I'm like, I love avocado toast, so fuck off,
I know.
But it's like I get what he's saying because the vegans of the world, and
Yes.
it's like debunk veganism.
Oh gosh.
It's so easy to debunk because I'm like, the only way I'm going to respect you as a vegan, and this is me straight up, raw, exactly how I feel. The only way I will accept that you're vegan and I will respect that you're vegan is if your clothes are literally sewn together by weeds that you wove together and you built your house out of mud and sticks and you live in the woods and you forage for your food
Yep.
with the bears
Yeah.
and the coyotes and whatever other
And you siphon your water out of natural
Yeah.
streams.
and that means you're not streaming about it because you can't have a phone. So really, you live out in the woods and no one knows who you are.
get
that-
all that petroleum-based shit off your face. That's
Yeah.
called makeup. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's like,
So wherever that person is that's living out off the grid out in
Yeah.
the woods and they built their house out in the woods and they're like crazy and fell into a massive conspiracy theory, so they moved out to the woods and now they forage and they knocked their own trees down and they built their house and did all their stuff and made their cement out of mud and did all that. That is the only vegan out there. So for all you vegans out there, go find your daddy. He's out there. Just go find him. But leave the fucking avocado toast alone.
I know. Like now they have to fuck with our avocado toast.
Yeah, don't be taking my avocado toast. Well, so I'm gonna call out my husband right now. I hope I don't embarrass him, but it will be funny. So we have recently been talking quite a lot about getting a little bit more into shape and getting better. And I'm the last one to tell him that he needs to lose weight or he needs to work on things. He has a difficult time sleeping. I think he has sleep apnea, at least a mild case of it.
Mhm.
And but his is kind of all up here. So it starts choking off your throat or
Mhm.
whatever. And he's not a heavy man. Really, he's
No,
not.
He's not.
But he has a football or a basketball belly, and so we were talking about it the other day, And I'm like, I'm by no means in any position to lecture you, except for the fact that I eat very little. I'm a very, very small eater. Don't judge me. Don't look at me and go, she's lying, whatever. My husband can get on here and tell you she's not lying. I really don't eat very much food. I have 2 autoimmune diseases. And so it does affect my metabolism and being able to burn fat and stuff. So I eat very, very small and I eat extremely healthy. I mean, I consider myself more of a chickatarian because I eat chicken and I only eat beef once in a while. And if my husband makes something with hamburger in it, I'll eat it. But I like scoop around as much as I can and get the gravy or whatever else is in there. But last night he makes this one dish that's chicken in a gravy sauce that we put over rice. I can't even finish because I'm laughing so hard. But I said, "Where's the rice?" And he said, "It's in right there." And I look at it and I said, "Okay, what's that one?" And he goes, "That one's brown rice." And I said, "Ew." And he goes, "Yeah, but it's better for you." And I said, okay. So this is how we're going to fix our whole health problem is just switch to brown rice. But the gravy shit we're putting on it is made with like cream and all this other crap. It's got hamburger in it and, fresh mushrooms. Okay. You got fresh mushrooms and brown rice, but, and when you're done, you're going to eat a bowl of ice cream. Okay. I'm like, I'll take the white rice. Okay. And he did. He made the white rice and the brown rice. But I'm like, but doctor, I changed to brown rice. Are you
yesterday?
Yeah, I don't know.
I ate 2 bowls of it, man. Like, what the hell?
What happened? I lost weight yet. Yeah. Do you still have soda in your fridge? Well, yeah. I'm not going without that. So it's
they had a sale down at the DJ. You can get 4 12-pack for $12.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, we're gonna solve our weight crisis with brown rice.
Yeah.
And he was like, well,
no, that's funny.
We were. I guess it's mostly me, but I was told stop blocking your face with your hands.
I do that a lot, though.
I do too. He said he was texting me yesterday. He said I texted you a couple things to think about, and I was like, "Yeah, I ain't answering my phone. I'm not looking at my phone." I said, "I don't care. You're not going to embarrass us if you tell us stop moving away, stop doing." Just say it. Just tell us.
Say
say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest.
I don't care. I'm not going to be upset. There's worms in mud. Worms have feelings too. Oh, yeah. So you can't really even put the mud on your stick-built house.
That's right, because they live in it.
And you can't cut the trees down. You have to wait until they fall.
And so it's all.
And if they fall, then there's ants. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're pretty fucked.
Yeah.
You better weave yourself a little lean-to with your.
Go live out in the sand.
Build yourself a sandcastle.
That's it. That's all you got.
Well, I mean, like Joe Rogan was talking about it, and he's like, but environment is what the environment is, and people are what people are, and animals are what animals are. You cannot have any of them without something being harmed. Mm-hmm. Like
exactly.
They all, you can't say, well, look at the monkeys. They eat fruit. No, they eat fruit when they're bored. They eat each other when they're hungry. And it's true. I mean, there's video out there of chimpanzees or monkeys like eating another monkey, like while he's still alive, just like gnawing into his leg
for sure.
And So something is going to be eaten by something.
Yes.
There are little worms that crawl on the plants and they eat that. And then there's
Mhm.
it reminds me of the lady who ate the spider, and do you not remember that nursery rhyme? There once was a woman who ate a spider.
No.
I don't remember how that
I
goes.
don't remember
Steve,
that.
look that up and send it
Yeah,
to me.
hurry.
Hurry, hurry. And then I don't know what that says. I pointed out the gravy.
Someone has to keep you
put
guys.
the gravy.
I pointed out the gravy, lol.
Oh, I pointed out the gravy. Yeah, exactly.
Someone has to keep you guys straight. What about the sand fleas?
Yeah, well then there's sand fleas. We can't worry. So you can't
So
build your
fuck
house.
vegans because
Yeah,
it's
that's
not real.
that-
Like we
that's-
totally just debunked it all.
Like it's not
It's not
a real
possible.
thing.
It's not possible.
It is
Nope.
1000% impossible to be a vegan.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you got to a point, and the person I had this debate with was claiming to be vegan. And I was like, then give me your phone. Did you drive here in your car? Yep. Give me your keys. Oh, and by the way, you're leaving here naked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because all them she's like, yeah, but these are all made by hemp. I said, what do you think hemp's made from? In order to have a hemp tree that grows enough to do that, you're feeding something.
Mhm.
Something is eating from it.
It's also
So-
being fertilized.
Yeah. So
And-
here's your stupid phone
yeah.
back and just stop being fucking vegan. Now, I have no problem with somebody being vegetarian.
Yeah.
And now I will say I have an issue, probably more so with vegetarianism, due to I don't want you to be mean to animals.
Yeah.
Your one self ain't going to save all the
No.
animals that are being slaughtered.
No.
But if you're a vegetarian, like I was vegetarian most of my life, 40 plus years or so, off and on, but a large majority of it.
Mhm.
And it's for two main reasons: religion, and I can't stand the taste of meat.
Mm.
I have never liked meat since the time I was a small child.
Wow.
I do not like it. If I eat something with meat in it, it has to have so much other stuff so that I can't taste it. Like I will even eat tuna fish, like very, very rarely, like
Mhm.
tuna fish salad
Mhm.
sandwich. There is so much shit put into my tuna salad sandwich that I don't know there's tuna in there.
Wow.
I can't taste it.
Wow.
Really. I mean, I can, but so mildly.
Mhm.
But I put like chopped up celery and onions and mustard and pickles and this and that. I mean, chives and this. I mean, there's so much crap in there. Now, my husband does say it's one of the best tuna salad sandwiches he's ever had. but it's and then there's lettuce and tomato on top of that in the sandwich. So, but hey, it's wheat bread. Not.
It's brown bread, not white bread.
Yeah. But I've just never liked
No.
the taste of meat. It's just not been something that I liked. So I didn't do it for virtuous reasons.
Mhm.
I did it because I didn't like it. I mean, I was a little girl. I cannot tell you how old I was when my dad was like, "You're going to eat that hamburger." And I'm like, "I don't want to eat it." My mom says I was like 4, maybe 5. I don't want it.
Mm.
Maybe I was even younger than that. I don't remember. But it was, you're going to eat it or you're going to stay here until you do. You're not going to bed and you're not getting anything else till you eat that hamburger.
Mm.
So my parents woke up the next morning and I was using it as a pillow. And I wasn't going to eat it. I think
Oh no.
I went like a full 2 days without food
Mhm.
because my dad wouldn't let me have anything else. And then my mom was finally like, I think she's not gonna eat it. Like, I don't think it matters how long she will outlast you on this. So maybe you should die on this and let it go. And from that point on, when my dad would make his hamburgers, which actually were really good. When I got older, I didn't mind his hamburgers. But when I was young, he would make a hamburger and my mom would tell me, ask him for an extra cheese. And when his back is turned, feed the hamburger to the dog and put the cheese in and just eat. So I just started eating a burger with double cheese and nothing else on it, lettuce, tomato, onion, and the whole thing. But there was no meat because I was under the table feeding it to Sammy. And my dog Samantha was, she knew when hamburger night came.
Funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. Squirrel says, igloos is the ticket. Walk to Antarctica and eat snow. And they will get eaten by some what are those
Polar bears?
not just
Or no?
polar bears,
Grizzlies.
but they're not seals. They're
Walrus?
or not
Sea
lions.
lions?
Sea lions. They're the ones with the nasty teeth. Oh, you don't want to go up one of those.
Oh my
You're gonna walk
gosh.
along with your stick because you have a walking stick, not like one of the nice ones because you ain't allowed to use that. You're vegan. But you walk with your stick, and here comes this sea lion after
And you're
you.
like, oh, look how cute.
Oh, he's gonna be my friend. What happened in my hand? Why is there blood all in the white snow? Oh, shit. Well, you better learn to stick that in the ice, and hopefully it gets frostbite right there and cuts off the blood flow. But I mean, again, debunking that you aren't going to live there because that's going to happen. Okay, so
gosh, that's funny.
let's see what this one says. Okay, I hate when I can't read this stuff. Maybe it's because I could make the screen bigger. I don't know. Let's see. It says, there wasn't a lady who swallowed a spider that wiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed the fly. Perhaps she'll die.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
now.
then remember she swallowed swallowed something else to get the spider, and then
And
she
then a
swallowed the
snake,
cat,
and then it was like
a
snake,
dog,
and
and
then
a cat,
and a dog, and then
she finally swallowed a horse. Of course she died. Of course.
Yeah.
And she died.
I do
of
remember that now.
Yeah. That's what that one was. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see what this one is. Is that a Bloody Mary? It is a bloody beer, actually. It's kind of like a Bloody Mary. It's made with Bloody Mary mix and then beer and then olives and my celery. So it's
Kind of.
it's a bloody beer. One of my favorites. I like a bloody beer. So,
Okay, so let's swing on back to where we started, which was being in echo chambers of political madness, and so there is so much going on, and what you were saying about doing different things to break it up. And I think it's also critical because there's so many people now that don't critically think.
yeah.
And it's because they have been so jaded, and all they want to do is have continuous validation for what they think is right and what they've come to accept or munch on as their own beliefs, which, I think if you really like if you quarantined people and took their ability away to consume all of this, everything that's being thrown at them all the time, I think that they would eventually like break down and really
Well, we
like
saw that in COVID. Like there was
yes.
there was a high rate of suicides, a high rate of divorces. As much as you think you love your spouse and that you get along so well with your spouse, you need time away from your spouse. Your friends, I
Mhm.
mean, like you can say, "Hey, I love my best friend. We're so great. You and I get along great."
Mhm.
But would that continue if we moved into a house together?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
we all have our
Exactly.
things.
Yes.
And then if you get isolated for too long a period of time, your isolation becomes your um it becomes kind of also like a retreat too, because after COVID there was a lot of people who didn't want to come out of the
Mhm.
isolation.
Very
Um
true.
and they also became very now, granted, in that isolation, we still had access to YouTube and videos and TikTok and social media and stuff. A lot of people started doing, their own
Mhm.
thing on, trying to be an influencer or
Mhm.
trying to do this. And a lot of fakeness came out of it. But a lot of learning stops,
Mhm.
and that isolation then becomes a breeding ground for a breakdown of your mental psyche, because our nature in general is for socialization.
Mhm.
Our nature is community. Our nature is we want to have that relationship with another person. And if you stop allowing people to do that, look at the evilness that has come out in people just being able to type on a computer
Mhm.
screen. Like the things they say and do, you would never find in the past, you
Mm.
would have never found appropriate to say and do to somebody's face.
Mhm.
And look at how long, like, I remember there a time where I would say, you know, hooking up or talking to a guy online, and the one or the first, second, or third things he says in your communication line is, "Send me a pic," or "Let me see your tits," or something like that, and you're like, "Oh, creep, bye,"
Mm.
you just check off. But if he did that to 20 women and one sent it to him, he got what he wanted.
Mhm.
Now, back then, you would think, "Oh, he wouldn't even dare try that in public." He wouldn't say those things. Now it goes with the vile things too, the hateful things, the
Mhm.
mean things, the calling somebody out in a so wrong way. You would never do that in public. To it got so extreme doing it online that now they do it in public.
Mhm.
There is no boundaries anymore, and
Because there's no
no
consequence.
social skills.
Well, and because there's no consequences, when we had to personally socialize with each other and be accountable
And
for
we
what
called
we
each other
said.
out.
Yeah, like if somebody's standing right in front of you and things are escalating, well, there's a good possibility that hands might be thrown, or something may be thrown or punched
"What'd
or
you call me?"
kicked, or yeah. But with that, by that same token, like once it was over, it was over.
Right. You went back and you got a beer.
And and it was over. Like it didn't drag out. It
Yeah.
didn't go on for weeks on end of like, and that's what the media does though.
Mhm.
I'm like, because if you really sit and think about it, like how many years? Okay, like just a quick example. Today, everybody's been taunted by the list, the list, the
Yeah,
list. The list
Epstein
is going to
list.
be, and then
I think
here,
it's gonna be the same shit we
and
already
I'm
know.
like, it's bread and circuses. Like that's how I feel
Yeah.
about it in a way. And why? So, but how long has this Epstein thing been going on? How many years?
But
Years.
well, and
Like
all
people have
and
been
all
talking about it for years, and we still have no closure.
no.
There's no closure.
And
Back
all
in the day, you'd beat the brakes off of somebody,
Yep.
and then there was closure.
And I'll throw my 2 cents on that. I think it's a waste of our time. It's a waste of
Mhm.
our tax
It
money,
is.
because frankly, We will never have closure, because the real thing is they might release a list of his supposed airline, whatever.
Mhm.
They're probably never going to release any of the videos, I don't want to see that shit anyway.
No,
But there's probably not going to be any prosecutions.
exactly.
And the people we really, really do truly need to prosecute on that, Biden just gave a bunch of pardons to.
Mhm.
So, like, if there's not going to be anything come from it, why are we hyping everybody up about it?
Yes.
And why are it's like we're digging up a dead horse and then let's beat him a little bit more. Like, let's let Epstein didn't kill himself, and let's die on that hill.
Yeah,
like
we all know that.
yeah.
It's pretty common knowledge, and that's not even a partisan issue. That's just
I think everybody on both sides kind of feels the same way about it. Like, can we drop
Just
the Epstein thing
yeah,
already? Like,
yeah.
we got one
Unless
person.
you're really gonna put
Unless you're
these
gonna actually-
motherfuckers on
unless-
display and hang them in the town square for everybody to witness.
Unless you're actually going to put people in
Then-
handcuffs and haul their asses off to Gitmo or
right
or whatever.
or
Or-
just
then don't.
they should be shot on the spot. But
I
that's
do
I
agree.
mean, I'm like,
I
just
think
instant firing squad. We don't need to keep these people eating off of the American taxpayers' money.
I think the gallows
Or-
is good to bring them back.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
for sure.
I want to
For
run
certain
for
things-
office on the platform of let's bring the gallows back. I wonder how many votes I'd get. I don't want to run for president, just whatever.
Yeah,
But I think
the
we should.
Department of Gallo Enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for bringing the gallows back, because I'll tell you what. And to get nasty and dirty for a second, if you took a guy and you hung him up naked on a gallows
Mhm,
and he's missing his wiener
mhm.
and there's a sign around his neck that says pedophile,
Yeah,
the pedophiles would go back underground.
yeah.
And they
Fast.
would they would try very hard
Fast.
not to do anything to get caught.
Yes,
They wouldn't be as brazen as
Exactly.
they are today,
exactly.
where they would just go ahead and do all this nasty shit that they're doing
Mhm.
and using what I think at one point, like, I'm not going to say transgender isn't a real thing.
Mhm.
It is, because there are some real people that suffer from gender dysphoria,
Mhm.
but I think it's become a fad. It's
Mhm.
become a trend, and it's become a breeding ground and a hiding ground for I want to find a better word than creep, but for creeps.
Mhm.
I mean, like, it's not that anymore. It
Mhm.
is a place for nefarious business to be going on.
Mhm.
And unless we're going to actually do something to stop the behavior, that agenda has infiltrated everything we have, to the point that they got freedom to go to women's prisons. They
Mhm.
were in women's sports. They are in your offices. They're in your businesses.
They're in the churches.
They're in the churches. They're in the
They're-
pulpits.
Yes.
They
Yes.
have infiltrated so much, and they've infiltrated our thoughts now, because you go into the military. Let's use the military, for example.
Mhm.
You go into the military, where they're supposed to be strong, powerful individuals that stand for our freedom and will fight for our survival. And they're afraid because, like, I don't want to get in trouble because that guy over there has nail polish on. So we've made even our strongest weak, because they don't want to lose their job, their rank, their careers, because they called out sissy over there.
Mhm.
But I, as an American citizen, don't want sissy over there fighting for me. Like,
Right.
I can fight better than sissy over
Right.
there. Like, and I'm fat, old, and out of shape, but I know how to shoot.
No kidding. Yeah, you're right. And that's this whole merit-based thing.
Yeah, like
Like, you don't want soldiers that aren't even like,
now I might want that person to design a wedding gown.
for sure. For sure. But I don't know. It's just so it's just such a big vast topic in my head, but to me it is very much a mental disorder, and really all of the alphabet mafia kind of, like, I have no judgment as far as personally towards people, but all of those things only represent one piece of somebody's lifestyle, which is a sexual preference. And that is never a subject that should be discussed with innocent minds.
And it should never be discussed
And
in a business environment.
no, that is like between
that-
family, parents, and children. I mean, that's an issue. Like, there's certain things that should remain private within the family and maybe seek the help of a professional if needed. But like, when kids are coming home and you've never spoken about that topic with your children because you don't think that a 7-year-old really needs to be discussing things like that because
Mhm.
they're not mature enough to handle and process those things. So your child comes home and brings that up to you, and there's nowhere to turn because that's a protected class. It's a protected status.
Right.
I don't care what full-grown adults wanna do, what they wanna talk about. They wanna go down to TJ and participate in donkey shows, like, whatever,
I
dude.
don't
That
really
shit's been
care.
going on for forever.
Right. I
But
don't really
leave
care.
the kids out of all of it.
And the parent, and the thing is when we got to a point where we're not even making the parents accountable for this misuse of their parenting by, I just read a thing earlier today, and it was so sad because it was a guy who's now, I think he's now in he's like going to be 30, I think. And his parents transitioned him before he was 7 years old, put him on blockers and raised him as a girl. And it wasn't until years later when he got away from his parents and he's in the detransitioning now. But he never wanted to be in the first place, didn't know anything about it. He was transitioned without consent. And they want to talk all this stuff about consent. These kids can't consent.
No.
They're not old enough to
No.
consent. And just because Sally wanted to have a daughter and got a son does not mean Sally has the right to transition her son to a girl to appease her desire to have had a daughter. I wanted daughters. I have 3 sons. I didn't get a daughter. You know what? Hope and pray that you get a granddaughter. And then you can play dress up with that one. But it's not your right as a parent to say, well, there's one that I just literally watched a video of it the other day. And I think it's in the UK or something like that because she was British accent. And she was introducing or Australian accent. I get some of those accents confused sometimes. But anyway, she was introducing her trans child, 14 months old. And she has known for years that she was born in years. She's only 14 months old. What years?
She doesn't have years.
What
Oh
years
my
are you talking
gosh.
about? And
Oh
that
my
as soon as possible, they're
gosh.
going to get her on hormone blockers. Like that should be child abuse.
Absolutely.
That person should go to jail.
100%.
And you're causing it to where these
dang.
children are going, and I've seen it because look at the little boy who dressed up like a girl and was dancing around and going to the strip clubs and or the drag clubs. I mean, that child does not understand nor have the brain capacity to understand, let alone consent, let alone understand what it all means. And like this guy was explaining, he was like, you know, he stayed that way for so many years because it's just what he knew, but he always knew there was something definitely wrong. Okay, and you can say it on the same side. That's how I felt. I always knew something was wrong. Well, then change it when you're a grown ass adult. Doing it when you're a child who hasn't even gone through puberty yet. I mean, your body changes. You go through a lot of confusion. You don't understand what's happening. The hormones are in, and they're fighting with you. And you like, I hate boys today. Oh no, he's cute. You don't even know what. And then you hate him again tomorrow. You got cooties. No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. I mean, that's our bodies going through our own transition, a natural transition that we go from. And I think if I want to say it, not to feed into their thing, but I think you're kind of non-binary till puberty. Like you don't know the difference between boys and girls other than you've been told by mommy, I'm a girl and daddy's a boy. Daddy has a wiener, you have a wiener. Mommy has a vagina. Sissy has a vagina. I mean, even back in the day, this was when I was in medical, there was a call to a house for an injury of a child. And we got called to the call. And the little girl had asked her mommy what that was. And she said, oh, God forgot to cut it off. So what do you think the little girl did? She cut it off. So, and this was maybe, now I don't think the baby was even a month old. And sister cut it off with a pair of scissors. Words matter. What you say matters because that child took literally what mommy said and she was going to fix the problem. Oh, God forgot to cut it. Well, God forgot to cut it off, but I can. And
I'm going to be a good big sister and I'm going to help everybody out. And
I mean, I'm sure she wasn't doing it to do anything bad,
wicked or right. Exactly.
So words matter.
That's an innocent brain that does not have the maturity to process certain things. That's why I feel like kids should never, ever, ever, ever be given access to the World Wide Web.
No, I agree.
Like I am so staunch on that.
Well,
you can ask my kids, like they will tell you we were the worst parents ever.
Oh, you're horrible.
We cut our kids off from the internet. And when our kids were little, the internet wasn't a huge thing, but like video games were. So they had an hour a day. You could play video games. You could be on the computer. You could watch TV. You could they only each had an hour a day.
I wouldn't allow
for
video games
stuff.
until for years and years until my mom bought a Game Boy. And I was kind of livid about it because I didn't want gaming in my house. For a period of time, I turned TV off. I took them out, and I was like, read a book. We
just limited time.
Yeah,
we didn't just let them
time.
sit there for hours on end. But that was also after they had chores to do every day. So your homework had to be done, the chores had to be done, and then your time was from here to here, and then your time was from here to here, and you didn't get to go hibernate in your bedroom, and you didn't get to go be alone with it. You had to sit out in the living room, and the gaming system was hooked up to the TV in the living room, so it was a very controlled situation. But now children are just handed these devices to keep them away from the adults that have their faces buried in their devices. And that's why kids like there's so much influence coming from so many different
Well, and
directions.
it's so hard to isolate it anymore. Like I literally got a pop-up on a group I belong to for a link to watch this news article, and I clicked on it. It's a group that I have vetted, like it's
Mhm.
one that sends legit stuff, and the news article was legit in the link, like it was right there, the first thing you saw. But you know how it has all the little ads around it?
Mhm.
There was straight porn
Oh,
right
wow.
there, like male on male, naked,
Wow.
right there on your screen. All you had to do was click it, and another very graphic image underneath of that one, and then something else. Now, I just watched the news article that was sent to me, but what I noticed is out of my peripheral, I saw those things. Now, if I were 13, would I have been like,
Mhm.
I wonder what that is?
Mhm.
Like, I can clearly see it's two naked people.
Mhm.
Like, and that was in it, and it's a news thing. Like, it's so there that it's you would have to literally, like, not just limit time, but it's time supervised only. Like, you could be on the computer sitting right here with me,
Mhm.
but you're not gonna be on the computer alone from me,
Mhm.
and I am gonna be in control of the mouse. Like, I will put on the thing that you need to watch or listen to for your school thing that you're doing, and then I'll pull up whatever document thing you use to write your stuff, and then I'll sit here while you use it. Like, I would be so different as a parent today, and I was pretty, um, I wouldn't say laxed at all. I was pretty stringent.
Mhm.
Um, I play outside, get a ball, read a book, anything but this crap.
And well, my kids were very outdoor oriented
Mhm.
until we moved to Alabama. And Alabama is not for outdoor activities.
Crazy.
So, I mean, that's a fact.
That's crazy.
Like, my kids were
Other than
so
sports?
sad when they came home from school, and I was like, "So how is it going?" And they're like, "So school sucks." And I'm like, "Why?" And they said, "The first of all was because they're not like, they don't go outside and have recess.
Oh my
They're
god.
in class from morning till lunch. Then after lunch, if the temperature is right and the weather is okay, they may get some outside time for 15 or 20 minutes. That's it. That's it, Tori."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Are you
Like,
kidding me
we
right now?"
had
Like, my kids in Colorado had morning recess, lunch, afternoon recess, PE. Like, they were
yeah.
constantly getting the
Well, and
and
I think that's
and us too when we were kids.
mhm,
Like, we
all
had
the time.
morning recess, lunch, at
I think we
recess
had
after
recess
lunch.
before and after lunch.
Yeah, like there was a morning and an afternoon recess, but then there was lunch and then your playtime or hangout time after lunch. So it was like
Yeah, we
I was
hurried up to
blown
eat so we could
away.
go outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I was blown away by that because also too in Colorado, the kids would be standing at the bus stop to take the bus when there was 4 feet of snow on the ground.
Mhm.
Here, there's a chance of anything, and they're like, "Oh, shut the schools down,"
Yeah.
so that was kinda weird, but, and the other thing that they said too was that they were frustrated in class because everything that they were doing, they had already done 2 years ago
Mm.
in Colorado.
Mm.
So, everything academically here is far behind too. So
Well, that's where our
and
education
then
system needs to get revamped altogether.
the entire county school system, it was before COVID, but they decided that every kid in the district or in the county schools were gonna have a MacBook,
Mm.
and you had to pay, like, $300 for your child to have this MacBook, And if your child didn't have the MacBook, then they would fall behind the rest of so everything in Limestone County for a while was all on computers. Then COVID hit, so then they turned to virtual learning. Then after everybody was allowed to go back to school, I'm going to say a good 1/3 of students did not return back to the classrooms.
No.
They stayed
And
homeschooling.
there was a lot of them that were allowed to stay homeschooling.
Mhm.
And with the today's environment of school, I don't go necessarily against any of the families who are like, I'm not putting my kid in these schools. Now, it obviously depends on the state you live in or whatever, but some of the materials that are now allowed in schools again add
Mhm.
to the problems that we're having.
Mhm.
Do you want to listen to this segment that I have real quick of
Oh, yeah.
Megyn Kelly?
Yep.
Um,
Oh, gosh, I
now
think
there's
that's
two
somewhere.
different parts here. One of them I was going to talk to was, and just real briefly, it was about Elon Musk at the cabinet meeting, but I don't think that's really as relevant as this other segment. But I think the biggest problem is we have so much that has been forced upon everyone, and they are making anyone who fights back against it the villain.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's again like the staying in those echo chambers of one side or the other. And there's lots of people that are not even on any kind of side, just want to listen to and take in and absorb like whatever they can from all sources and kind of form a educated and cultured viewpoint of things, because it's it's too easy to become fully consumed with one side, especially if you feel empowered by it. And there's a sense of empowerment on all sides of the political spectrum now, and well, mostly the two, but there's a lot of false empowerment feelings, I guess. And now, because everything takes place on the internet, it's too easy to shut down what you don't want to hear and dismiss it as craziness or whatever, which some of it is crazy. And there's extremists
Oh, yeah.
on both sides. There is definite extremists. And like we were talking about a little bit yesterday, how you said there's like 4 different types of people. There's the people who are Trump voters, Trump supporters, and then MAGA people. And I was thinking about that last night after I went home, and I was like, as far as like MAGA goes, like I'm 100% all in on it, like for the movement.
But there
But
are
where I have
extreme
to
MAGA
separate
too.
myself,
Mhm.
I'm not a Trumpster.
No.
Like I don't personally look at Trump and go, "Fuck yeah, that's the man." Because there's a lot of things about Trump I don't like.
Well, I think it's
And
being a realist too.
but I also look at it as that dude's not coming to my house for dinner.
Right.
Like we're not going to go get coffee.
Yeah.
So all I'm really interested in is that he really follows through with what he said. And the movement of Make America Great, like how can you be against that?
Right.
Like,
I completely agree. But
there's no way like you can rationalize that in your head. And so like that part, and I feel like the extremists won't allow you to say I'm full on with MAGA and Maha and Masa and whatever, but like
Well,
I'm not a Trump.
Well, I think there's a difference of what you're saying is like the Trumper. You're still a Trumper, but you're not a trumpeter in
Yeah,
what so to
yeah.
like he can do no wrong.
Because once he's
You're
out
a-
of office, this movement
Needs
will
to
have
continue.
momentum and needs to continue as a pathway that we stay on, not jump over into this lane and head off on the interchange and go a whole
right.
different direction where we have to flip a U-turn and come back around. And it's like it and it can even be adopted by the Democratic side in certain respects.
Well, there's a
as
lot.
well.
It has now because there's a lot. Like it has turned into a new party where you have libertarians and you have liberals and
and
you have
constitutionalists and independents.
you have all
and,
sorts of
yes.
people now in it. And when you refer to Trumpsters like that, I see that as a full-on MAGA Trumpster is that far right wing.
Mhm,
That far right wing that Trump can do no wrong.
mhm.
Don't you say anything about
Right,
and
right.
and they get angry at you if you correct or
Yes.
you critique or you say anything that
Mhm.
you disagree with. And I think I'm on the side of being a Trump supporter that is MAGA and 100% MAGA, but I can also and I feel comfortable critiquing when I don't like something
Mhm.
and being honest about it. That's a big part of it too, is you have to be honest.
Yes.
Did you really actually like what he just did? Like, I love what Elon Musk is doing, but there are things about Elon Musk that I don't like. But again, he's not coming to my dinner table.
Mhm,
He's not going to have me over for coffee.
mhm.
Um,
And the things that
because
he does that I don't may not care for have nothing to do
they have
as a
nothing to do with
whole
business.
with what's happening with our nation.
And what he's doing for business for the country is
Yeah.
a business thing. His
Yes.
personal stuff is the stuff I disagree with.
Yeah.
And I don't really give a shit because like
It
I
affects me none.
I'm not going to meet his wives,
Exactly, his
well,
kids,
non-wives. I'm not
right.
going to meet all his baby
Yeah.
mamas.
Yeah.
I'm not going to meet his kids.
No.
I'm not going to have lunch with him. You
No.
know, I don't have to worry about that. And he keeps his personal
Yes.
is separate from his business.
Yes.
And on a business standpoint, he is pragmatic.
Mhm,
He is detail oriented.
mhm.
His autism works to our advantage
Yes.
because he's so ultra focused on this task at hand that he's like a dog with a bone. He's not going to stop till he finds it all and
Mhm.
fixes it all.
Yes. Yes.
So for that, I like.
Mhm.
And there's times when Trump speaks that I'm like, really, did you say that?
Yeah.
So I am
yeah.
also a realist.
Yeah.
You know, I am a Trump supporter. I am a MAGA person, but I'm also a realist. So I'm not a Trumper.
Right.
Like I think the Trumpers are not MAGA.
yeah, I don't think
To be
so.
honest
I
with
really,
you, they
yeah,
are
I agree.
1,000%.
I agree.
Like they're the ones that are mad at him for selecting Elon. They're the ones that are
Yes.
mad at him for selecting
Cash
RFK,
and
Cash,
Yes.
for
Yes.
Pete Hegseth.
Yes.
They're the ones that are mad at him, Tulsi Gabbard.
Mhm.
They're mad at him for breaking bread at the table with what they consider Judas.
Right.
You know, they're also the ones that don't accept a Democrat coming over to our side.
Right.
You know,
don't.
they are 100%. You weren't with us then, you can't be with us now.
Mhm.
So I don't really think they're MAGA either.
Mm-mm. I don't think
So
so.
I
either.
guess there's liberal or crazy Democrats, then there's the MAGA people, and there's the Trump voter,
Mhm.
the Trump supporter, the MAGA people, and the Trumpsters. And the
Mhm.
Trumpsters are the people that are on their own thing. He is their God.
Yeah. Yeah.
They worship him.
Yeah.
He is their God. He is their cult leader. They
Yes.
have kind of become a little bit of a cultish type of people. I'm not
Mhm.
one of them.
Me neither.
I absolutely
Not
am
even
not. I
close.
have
I'll
no
criticize
problem.
him as fast as I'll criticize someone on the other side.
If I
that's a
see
fact.
something he does that I think is wrong or bad for the country, I will say my piece when it comes to that
Mhm.
too. I'm not
Mhm.
going to keep my mind. Oh well, it's Trump, so
Yeah,
okay. I mean,
oh,
I do
it's-
believe he has a plan.
Yeah.
I do believe he's 20 steps ahead of the opposition.
For sure.
I do think he's playing chess game.
Mhm.
And I do have to sometimes when he does one of those things where I'm like, seriously, Trump, why did you do that? And then I have to think for a minute, oh, wait, he's trolling.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he did it deliberately to
Yes.
troll
Yes.
the view.
Yeah.
You know, like putting his king thing.
Yeah.
That was a troll
Yes,
moment.
totally.
Completely.
Totally.
100%.
Yes. Yeah, so but that's where I stand with all that. I was just glancing down at the comments here
Oh, yeah, we have a couple.
because they're from a while ago though.
That's okay. Go ahead and read them.
It was so is that a Bloody Mary? So you answered that, and then it was too long to paste the entire thing. So that was for the
Oh, with the
old lady
old
who
lady.
swallowed a spider.
yeah.
Must be nice to drink on the job.
Yeah.
And then gallows
It
humor.
sure is.
Gallows humor, yes. You always have to throw some gallows humor into your life. Like I'm just
I think gallows are a gallows would be great to bring back.
I would so sign up for that fucking job to pull the lever. I'm that dark of a bitch.
She's like, I don't even
I'm
need the black hood. Just
I'll just do it with a smile.
you know, and the thing is,
Isn't that awful?
it's funny.
I would do it for free if they would allow me my own lineup.
Well, the other thing
That's
is,
all I would ask
you could have
for.
a very small guillotine next to it for the pedophiles. You like sticking in holes, sticking in this one.
This is step number 1. And this is step number 2.
And she's like, what? You don't have to cut the rope. You just have to. No, I want to cut the rope. You know, we keep having to buy ropes, Kimberly, because you keep cutting. Yeah, but it's a lot funner when I take my and it goes wham. You know, yeah. And
no.
And getting to see the person's face and feel their pain.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that screaming. I would be smiling all the way till, you know, you pull him out again. And then you're like, okay, I need to just step over to phase 2. No.
Walk faster.
It hurts.
Oh, does it now? Blast him with a salt gun.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I'm sorry, but I'm all for corporal punishment.
I am too. For
Public-
certain
public-
absolutely.
The reason there was less problems when they had the Old West and we had the hanging trees, or, you know, they actually had gallows. When they had those and you were paraded out and hung, the only difference is from then to today that I think we would have a better ability to have 100%, maybe not 100%, but a much higher percentage of surety that they're guilty. Whereas back in the day, there was a lot of people, oh, damn, he wasn't guilty. Well, oops.
Shoot.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Darn it.
Just come back and live again. You know, but we have a lot more certainty of guilt today because forensics are a lot better. DNA, the big one, video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of these criminals are literally with their victim.
I know.
Like they're
I know. So stupid.
what's that guy's name? Wade, somebody or other, that's in prison now. He's got the tattoo of a teeth tattoo on his face. Killed a couple people, and I can't remember his name, but anyway, I mean, like he that's how come they know he did it, because he had way too much documentation of his crimes. Like, I don't know about you, but like, if you're gonna murder somebody, don't take footage.
Like, yeah.
Like, leave the phone at home. But we can't. No, I gotta go with my phone.
The urge is just too strong.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't.
It's crazy.
You can't leave it. You can't. We can't step away from it. That's the problem.
That's right. I know.
Yeah.
But thank God for dumb criminals. Sometimes, if they get caught.
Okay. Here is the part. Okay. So here's the part that I'm going to share now from Megyn Kelly. So I'm going to put this on the screen with us here. So if I can, I have no idea how to figure these things out half the time. I'm still learning this process here because I don't know how the process works yet. I'm trying here, people. Oh, well, it's so irritating that when I'm trying to make something work a specific way and it goes like, no, you need to do it like this. You need to do it like, well, that's not how I want to do it. Okay. So like, let me do it the way I want to. But I'm also using a new program that's a little bit different than the one I was on before. So we're going to play this. And it kind of feeds into the line of what we were talking about before, about how so many of these horrible things are infiltrating everything. So just listen to this real quick.
Cabinet meeting. It's infuriating, Buck. You're right. What you said is right. They're more obsessed with being anti-Trump, anti-Elon than they are in figuring out what the true morality is of what's being exposed.
Yes, and they're showing also the American people how obtuse they are in their approach to this at every step of the way. These are not 50-50 issues. These are not even 60-40 issues. This is much more like an 80-20, where 20% of the far left of this country, or the 20% that comprises it, is in favor of, say, Hamas, or they're in favor of trying to buy off terrorist groups with humanitarian aid. And the rest of the American people are saying, what the heck are you doing? This is completely insane. And I would just say, you've seen, I'm sure, Megyn, I think everyone's seen now, these chat logs from inside of the NSA and the CIA. And as
we haven't yet talked about that. Let me just set that up. For the audience.
Sure. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's great.
That's the part that I want to talk about for a second. Is they are so. I wonder if the word obtuse is right. They're so obtuse about their hatred that they can't see the forest through the trees. Like, they hate him so much that they can't see the shit that he's uncovering and the wasteful spending that has been done, all the way to the point that they're saying, hey, we have found so much waste and so much abuse here that we're going to send money back to the people.
But I think what it is, though, more than anything, is what we were saying earlier about, like, people on the far left are not listening to people like Megyn Kelly. They're not watching like real news being reported. They are still stuck on their MSNBC, CNN.
But that's partly what I'm talking about.
feeders.
It is the MSNBCs and their
they're-
hatred for Trump is so bad that they won't even tell the truth.
Oh, right,
to
yes,
their
right. No,
listeners.
and they don't.
They won't. They're
They're
hate him so.
focused on Elon wants your grandma's social security. Elon wants your social security number. And it's like, if you had two brain cells to rub together, like, please explain to me how the richest man in the world, who doesn't even own a house and can care less about owning a house, wants access to your fucking credit card debt.
Yeah, he doesn't want your
He
shit.
doesn't. Like, this is like,
And
but
that's
there's
that-
no way to, like, this is what they're being fed.
They're being fed this,
fed.
and they're being fed that Elon wants this, and that that Orange Man bad still.
Yeah.
That what he's doing is doing this to make it to fill their own pockets. That not, and they're not even reporting the actual what has been discovered.
No, they're not.
And when they do report, or they have another commentator on their news that talks about, well, what about the fact that they're going to send, the American people $5,000 back? Their hatred for Trump is so strong that they come back, and this is what their people
Yeah.
are watching.
Yeah.
So they hear him say this, but then they hear her say something like, well, what's $5,000?
What's $5,000 going to do for anybody?
For the people, hopefully. And I think you are seeing a lot of people from the side that are watching those. And now that the networks are starting to add a few other people into it
Mhm.
that are arguing the cases a little
Mhm.
bit, they're seeing a little bit more pushback. And I think it's part of the reason why their numbers have gotten so bad, because the people aren't watching them anymore. They have sought out Megyn Kelly,
Mm.
because Megyn Kelly's numbers are astronomical. Dan Bongino's are astronomical. On a YouTube or his Rumble or whatever,
Mhm.
having 250,000 people watching
Mhm.
means you're reaching somewhere.
Yeah. True.
When Elon Musk and Donald Trump did that meeting together,
Mhm.
it was audio only. And in less than 24 hours, there was like 5 million people had listened to it.
Jeez.
And so we are reaching them,
Mhm.
but it's been slow going,
Mhm.
but you're starting to see them. And when you tell them $5,000 ain't going to do nothing for you, they're like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Like, I could use that
Yeah.
5,000.
For sure.
So you have to be careful what you're telling your base,
Mm-hmm.
because I think what we're seeing now is it's starting to backfire.
Mm-hmm.
And so this part is back to that infiltration of wokeness, getting in so deep into everything, where we are afraid to call out sissy boy.
Mm-hmm.
We are afraid to call out anyone for their behavior, because we don't want to be considered a bigot or a racist or a homophobe or a transphobe or whatever. We don't want a label put on us that is this negative connotation. So we kept our mouths shut till they infiltrated everything. So let's continue real quick.
Okay.
It broke the other day.
Comparison.
Chris Rufo, who's an amazing force for good in the country, had a whistleblower come to him out of NSA saying, here are a bunch of texts from internal chat servers showing an obsession within our national security agencies with being trans, with sex, like gay sex, with calling themselves not just by the wrong pronouns, but insisting that these random people who work for us in the highest levels of our intelligence agencies want to be known as it. I'm an it. I'm not even a he or a she. Absolutely raunchy, disgusting talk. And the explanation is that they've gotten so obsessed with Pride Month and the so-called tolerance of the LGBTQ crowd that this went on without fear on these company internal chat forums until somebody just blew the whistle.
Okay, so before she goes into the blowing the whistle part, I think this goes into play as to why I think we have to have those checks and balances, and for Elon to say, send an email of what you've done for the last week, what you did, 5 things you did last week. You need accountability. You need checks and balances. You work for yourself. Can you tell me what you did last week? 5 things you did last week?
Absolutely. Off the top.
Do you have to put too much effort into that?
No.
So how long would it take you to
10
send me an email?
seconds,
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
As fast as my little fingers can type.
For sure. Just answer the
Like,
fucking
it's-
email, dude.
How hard is that?
It's not
And then when they
hard.
go arguing back, and this is where they push back to get their base is you have the head of the CIA who tells them ignore that, or
Yeah.
Department of Defense
Yeah.
ignore. That's not what they said.
No.
That is not what they said.
No.
What they said is your department heads can dictate how this needs to be handled. You can report to your supervisor.
Mhm.
And if a supervisor says, I already know what's going on because I'm doing my own checks and balances, you guys don't have to answer that email
Mhm.
to that email.
Right. Right.
Because send it to me or don't send it, because we just had a big, huge meeting and we know what everybody's doing. And we're doing our own internal checks and balances. So that is not the same thing as them going, I don't want my department to do this. You don't have to answer Elon.
Yeah.
That is not what was said.
You
That
weren't
was-
elected into that position
Yeah.
to demand us to do whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, this is actually probably just like it's the phase one of like it's not really trolling, but they have to figure out if any of these people are real people that are receiving a paycheck. And now they're finding out that there's people that haven't even opened an email in a year.
Yeah.
Because they can see those things
Right,
because they
right.
have the access to see
Well,
what their
and-
employees are sending through encrypted servers.
Are they people who they died during COVID or they died at some point in time and the wife is still
And-
taking the
yeah,
check?
I mean, there's so many things
Because there's no checks and balances. There's no oversight.
so
and I'll
this
tell
is
you-
where they're starting. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, all these names and social security numbers that are receiving money,
Or might not even be receiving
let's
money.
just make contact.
Yeah, let's
Let's
just make
make
sure
contact.
this person is still alive. Then
If you don't make contact and you're given an ultimatum, which is respond or you don't have a job anymore.
then don't bitch about
then-
it. Respond.
Yeah.
The ones who did
You're
it.
going to put more effort into social media posts and TikTok videos and whatever, bitching about fucking being asked to send the 5 things you did. Like,
Regular
why?
corporate companies
ask
have
for accountability on
know,
so many levels.
you have regular checks and balances at
Mhm.
most companies. Most
You have an 8-hour
employers.
shift. How many dogs did you do in that 8-hour shift?
Some
I
people
did
have to
2.
do this daily.
Well, if someone only did 2 dogs in an 8-hour shift, but the other 5 people are doing 7 dogs in an 8-hour shift, then you find out where your
Did you
weakest
have a
link
problem?
is.
Did you have a problem
so
with the dog?
Right. So you address why
Right.
that, because the bottom line is the bottom line. And so everybody needs to be controlled. I mean, but you have to know business and you have to understand business in order to make a halfway decent assessment of what's going on.
And I wonder how many of the ones who are bitching and complaining about it are like GS 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not, in my opinion, they're probably not the people who are GS 13s
No.
and 14s and
No.
SESs and stuff
They're
like that.
paper pushers
They are
and-
they are low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
And they probably work at departments that are very woke themselves.
Mhm.
And no one's going to call anyone out. And they don't do payroll.
Right.
So that's the other part of it. And Elon brought this up the other day is we have to get all the departments talking to each other. Like they all have to know what each other's doing. Because if this person moved from this position to this position and they're both still paying them,
Yes.
because this
Yes.
HR didn't take them off that payroll and this person still works. They still answered that email, but oh, damn, he's getting paid in 2 different places. We have to put that into account.
Mm-hmm.
And Tulsi Gabbard actually said, everyone's getting fired who participated in that. I'll play that soundbite, Sot 1, and then you take it out.
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust, what to speak of like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. They were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really horrific behavior. And they were brazen in doing this because When was the last time anyone was really held accountable? Today's action in holding these individuals accountable is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration, which is carrying out the mandate the American people gave him. Clean house, root out that rot and corruption.
Go ahead, Buck.
Look, as you know, Megan, I worked in the CIA for a number of years. It's been a while, but I still have a lot of friends on the inside and people throughout the intelligence community. And what you're hearing about in terms of how left-wing and insane it is, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This has been going on for years. This
Absolutely.
is a systemic
This wasn't your
problem.
internal chit chat when you were there. You were not discussing how great it would be to have an intersex baby so that you can raise him trans, like some of the messages here. An intersex birth would be a great opportunity to raise a kid as a non-binary and let them choose later. This is when, after they're discussing trans surgeries and their excitement about, quote, being penetrated. That wasn't the chit chat you saw on the internal servers back then.
No, we were trying to find Osama bin Laden. I mean, literally trying to find Osama bin Laden.
Right.
That was my job. I was in CTC in the CIA's counterterrorism center, and there was a sense. Now, remember, I was there in the early, starting around 2005. So there was a very clear mission set. You had us working very closely with military, including Tier 1 strike units, going after the worst of the worst. But starting around the Obama era, which is when I left, things started to shift and they got very adept. And this is kind of a longer narrative, but these agencies, and this is why I was thinking about it when we were talking about USAID a moment ago, these agencies have really mirrored what you saw happen, Megan, in the university system, where it's almost like an invasive species in nature gets a foothold and then takes over an entire ecosystem and blocks out all the other species. What you have is people inside of the federal bureaucracy who are radical left partisans, and this usually comes through HR, the DEI office, the left-wing commissars, if you will. They start to demand certain policies. They start to hire certain kinds of people. They create a pipeline for more of this madness, just like how we saw the faculty lounges across America, even at the most elite universities, just have gone completely insane over the last 20 years. You could say it's maybe longer than that. This has happened throughout the intelligence community too. And when you don't have people showing up, you had this post 9/11 generation, which I was a part of, where we're just saying our country's under attack, let's fight Al Qaeda. Okay, that's why a whole wave joined. If you joined the CIA in the last 10 years, a lot of people are joining and they had to mouth the preferred slogans of the DEI commissars about things like the trans agenda. I have friends in the CIA who say that it feels like it's Trans Awareness Week every other week in the Central Intelligence Agency.
That's scary. When you really think about it, like he said, it is like a parasite that has taken over.
Well, and I just want to throw out there too, like statistically in our population, and this is a little bit older statistic because I haven't looked it up for a while, but the trans community makes up like less than 1% of our population.
Right. They're like 0.03% of the
how-
population, and they're like 0.8% of the trans or of the
of the
LGBTQ.
alphabet mafia.
Yeah. So I mean,
So this has always bothered me since this has been an issue, is how is such a small percentage of our population able to affect the entire system, all the way down to paperwork that you fill out at the doctor. When you go to the doctor and you're filling out all your vital statistics and your name and your address and your phone number and your gender. And for my entire life, up until a few years ago, it was M or F.
well, and
then it
you
turned
see
into
that,
M, F,
and then they could have an X,
non-binary, this or an X, and it's like,
and they're coming unglued right now because they're getting their new passports back that have back to M or F.
but who gives a fuck? Because they're only 0.003% of the fucking population. So how is that such a huge issue?
Well,
I mean,
Like-
I really need an answer to that
Like he
because
said, though, it is like a parasite because they breed together this mindset, and they get that one hired in, and then into the HR position, and then that HR position makes sure she's only hiring, he, whatever, is only hiring within that same community. And pretty soon, even though it's only a small percentage of the population, when they're infiltrating, it can look like there's more than there is because they're taking over.
but if they're only a small portion of our entire population, it's an even smaller percentage of the people trying to work for the CIA or for
But then what
I mean,
happened,
it's
because they
little.
allowed that to happen, those that are not part of that parasite group have come into the parasite group because they're a whole nother parasite, which is like the pedophiles, the sex predators, the child predators, the traffickers, and they now found a avenue to play dress up to fit in. So now they get to, and they found that they could make their way into, because we all had to be so woke. If we weren't, we were bad, and we were bigots, and we were homophobes and transphobes and everything else. So of course you're going to give me that job at the CIA, and we allowed it to happen. We, as our government, we as people, I mean, the people who fought back against this stuff, we were called horrible names.
I know.
We were
I
treated
know.
very badly. We were called racists and bigots. And, I mean, at some point they talk here about
But how did that small percentage get such a big hold and such footing and gain such
you only needed a couple.
traction?
You only need a couple to get in the door. You think about it from back in the day. Do you remember that the infiltration of the federal government by the Scientology?
Mm.
The biggest infiltration of our United States government and our government offices was by the Church of Scientology. They got over 10,000 people into different government positions. Now, 800 of them, I think, went to prison and went to jail for it, including the founder's wife. But how? They're very small. They're a very small church considering compared to other churches, compared to other entities, very, very small. You only need one in one department that does hiring. Once you do that, you can start infiltrating all sorts of other places and locations, and it's just like a nasty weed that you can't see the underbelly of that weed. You only see the fruit of that weed. And you have to start somewhere, and it can start small. But I mean, I knew we had that. I knew it was a big weed plant with a bunch of shit underneath of it. I knew as soon as our Department of Health, Secretary of Health, was a transgender. I knew that they had infiltrated everything at that point. I was like, I guarantee you we are going to find this now is everywhere. Because how did we get to this point? How did we get to the point? And it wasn't until then that we had to then accept transgenders in the military, accept this and accept this and accept this, because you're going to accept it or I'm going to kill you. And they're going to kill us with hatred. They're going to kill us with the popularity content, and it's backfiring now. What happened is, we give an inch, you take a mile. We gave them way too much, and we let them take over. But now it's not too late to fix it. It's not too late to get it back. But the exposing that is happening because of Doge and because of Elon Musk getting into all the systems. That's how they found it. They found it from there and a whistleblower. And the whistleblower did not come forward until Elon Musk started digging and until Trump was in office. And until probably didn't even come forward till Tulsi Gabbard was put in position, because then that person was like, okay, now I can come forward. Because they're scared, and these people have made everyone scared. But you know, you know, it's like the wolf within the sheep. As a sheep herder can look out to the wolves, or to the sheep, look out to his wolves. He can look out to his sheep, and they'll be baying or making noise or whatever, and look out there and everything is fine. And he can't even see that the wolf is underneath of them, sneaking forward, because all you see are the sheep. And the wolf is crawling quietly and slowly, and he finds the weakest one to attack before he attacks. So that's the exact same way they did it. They found the weakest department, the one with the least amount. And how do you find that? You have other people that work for the government. There's so many government employees, and all you have to hear is, oh, I work for them. They don't check shit. They don't do shit. They don't do anything. And you just have to get enough knowledge of what they're not doing and say, ooh, that's a good place to start. Ooh, that's a good. And of course, the best place to start is HR. Get into the Department of Hiring for all government employees, the vetting department. You know, I remember when I had to do my background investigation for the police department.
Transgenders being solicited to work for the government? Is that what happened?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand.
I think so. Once they got that foothold, just that little bit of a foothold, that wolf got in there, and that was partly in the HR department. And when the Secretary of Health Services got in there, and how they did this, I really, honest to God, believe with every ounce of my being, how they did this the majority of the way was certain ones got in and took advantage of Biden's cognizant failings, because he didn't even remember his own bigotry.
Well, true. Yeah.
He really didn't remember that he was a bigot.
No.
Because he was.
Oh, I know.
You know,
There's lots of footage
his,
of him.
His bestie was, you know, one of the heads of the KKK. He was one of his besties. I mean, he did his eulogy. So, you know, dementia and I think he has Alzheimer's.
I do too.
At least for sure dementia. But, you know, my great uncle had Alzheimer's, and he would be outside chasing cattle rustlers bare naked with his cowboy boots on and a knife, and there was nobody out there. Nobody. So it explains some of his shaking hands with no one's there, having conversations with people who are dead. But it also cost us and gave them momentum, because they go to him and say, well, I think we need to hire more diverse people. Oh, okay, you go ahead. I forgot I'm a bigot.
Yeah. Where's my ice cream?
Yeah. Do I get ice cream if you hire that transgender over there? Will you bring me my ice cream?
Was it that, like, this stuff was added into other things that was placed on somebody's desk before the vote 10 hours from now? And, you know, like bills, and they added all this fat into these bills that never got read and never got. So, like, how calculated of a plan is this? Really?
It's a very
Because
calculated.
that takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of people.
Well, it's not to
just
say
one,
these people are not smart.
to put into that, but like, everybody needs to understand that, like, this is a small part of our entire population,
Yeah.
we were forced
To accept it.
to accept it.
And happy with a smile.
And
You know, it
yes.
reminds you back when National Lampoon's Summer Vacation, and they went to, what was it, that
Wally
amusement
World.
Wally World, and he's like, "You're gonna go in and you're gonna have fun." I mean, we were all treated that same way. You're gonna go
Yeah.
and you're gonna like it. You're gonna see this and you're gonna be approving of it. You're gonna say hi with a smile on my face and call me she.
But what's so disturbing too about this is that, because now you see on social media about, well, people don't really understand what DEI is. DEI means slopes in the sidewalks for people who are in wheelchairs.
No, it doesn't.
And DEI means this and DEI
No.
means that. And I'm like, the fuck it does.
No,
No, it
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't. It has
No, it has
no.
nothing to do with wheelchair accessible access to a fucking building, or whether or
Nothing.
not you're a boy or a girl. And I just want to put this out there too. Like, I'm a woman. I have chromosomes that make me a woman.
Are those your real boobs?
And well, yeah. I mean, they're there, so they must be mine. I woke up to them this morning. I'm like, okay.
You didn't
They
go out
still
and pay for
hurt,
them, do
though,
they?
from
Yeah,
my
she had a
mammo
mammogram
yesterday. But like, I don't understand, if you really are like born as a full-blown XX or XY, how on earth do you definitively, without a doubt, know by your feelings that you're not?
I
Like as a woman, like how I have no fucking clue what it would feel like to be a man.
have and
I'm not talking about just emotions. I'm talking about all of it, mentally,
I don't know what it feels like to have a penis.
right,
kicked
or
in the balls.
physically, or none of it.
Yeah.
So how do you, at what point do you go, God, I really think that I was born as a mistake and I should have, well, what fucking criteria do you have to go by?
I mean, and I look.
I like to fucking hop on a four-wheeler and go get dirty, and I don't mind scraping chicken shit off of what I like.
Well, those are part of it too, is like, I think that there's a part of it is an era thing, because if I was me, the me I am,
Mm-hmm,
the way I grew up, the person I was all my life,
mm-hmm.
if I was a young girl
Yeah.
girl in school,
You would be
being
getting
the same one that I was,
on.
I totally would have been taken
Yes.
aside. I think your name is Joe.
Me too.
You know, I think you're a Jonathan,
Yeah.
you're a Michael, you're a
Yep.
whatever, because you don't like dresses.
Mm-hmm.
You like
don't
to
wear
dig in the
makeup.
dirt.
You don't.
You
yeah.
like to
You
play
don't
the-
have nails.
You like to
don't-
play sports out there with the boys. You like to get dirty. You like to do all these things. I think you're really actually a boy.
Mhm.
And I think that's the biggest part of the problem, is we have these parasites who have infiltrated so many things, and they are breeding this to continue and get bigger. And so that the parasite can take over, because like
But
anyone,
are people really that far lost and gone to
Mhm.
where, like, something so logical as, if you're a woman, there's no way to know what it feels like to be a man, and vice versa?
no, I think
If
there's
you're
also
a man, there's no way to know what it's like, or feels like, or thinks like, or bees like,
and only
or
the people
to
that are
be a
against this
woman.
feel that way. The people who are for inclusion, and we have to love
But we
and
can
include
include them
everybody.
in stuff, but we don't need to talk about what the fuck you got going on down there in your junk area. Like that, it should not
and
be relevant
It
at
shouldn't
all.
have anything to do with
At
it
all.
at all. And we shouldn't be talking about this with the kids.
Never.
And that's the biggest problem, is it is one of the largest, and here's part of the issue too, though, is it has become fatting. I don't know that that's
trendy.
trending.
Trending.
And the thing is they have done enough research and enough studies to show that the people who are afflicted with this in their mindset have been assaulted when they were very young, sexually assaulted,
Yes.
violently assaulted,
Yes.
men or even some
Yes.
women where they had like these fetishes, they had these things that they do. There are women who have literally psychological problems where they really, 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 really wanted a girl. So they raised them as a girl. And this has happened prior to this decade.
Mhm.
And they became like girly boys. And it was all acceptable in different realms, especially in like music and Hollywood and stuff like that. You had Boy George, you had Kiss, you had the different boy bands, the hair bands,
Oh,
the
yeah.
hard, and they wore makeup, they were
Yes,
Poison,
yes,
you know, heavy
yes.
metal bands that had the hair and the
Mhm.
makeup and the tight jeans
Mhm.
and the whole thing, and they were straight. Not all of them were straight. But then it became to the point of where there was such a major problem with that. And then we got to a point of, well, we all have to accept and we have to be inclusive and we have to include everyone and we have to love them for who they are. That the parasites that saw that happening said, now's my avenue. Now there's a door open and all I have to do is sneak in like that wolf crawling through the sheep there. And the sheep herder is like, all the sheep look good. I don't know why they were crying a little bit, but they look all right. Everything's fine. And they go back into the house and comes out an hour later and all the sheep are dead. Because there was a wolf in there. But they didn't walk out into their sheep to check for the wolf. They just observed. Looks all good. And I think that's what we did as the American people. They've got it. They're doing their job. It's okay. And
then everybody gets blindsided with what's really going on.
like what people have to understand, this is not something that just happened during Biden's campaign.
Right. Exactly.
And time in office. This has been, the wolf has been in there crawling through and eating this one and eating this one for the last 3 decades. Little bit here, little bit here, little bit here, little bit here, until they don't have to worry about it because bitches, we own the place now. The wolves have moved in and you sheep better do what you're told or I'll kill you now. I'll slit your throat. And that's exactly what has happened. And the only thing that is saving us is that there were enough people out there that were saying, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I personally think COVID was something that they wanted to happen to do a flush. Now they were hoping more people would take it, and they were really pissed off at all of us people that refused. I mean, I told my husband, if they make a mandate, if you don't take the jab, you go to jail, I'm going to jail. Like, I'm not fucking doing it.
Yep.
Don't care.
I didn't either.
I'm not fucking doing it.
No way.
And if it came again, I ain't doing it. I won't. This time I will never mask up. I fought masking up the entire time. Like, I would not mask up. I bought masks that said horrible things on it, like 2020, the sequel. I bought one that was completely mesh, like there's nothing to it, had glitter on it. You know, like I didn't. Now this time I won't put one fucking one on. I don't care. You can fucking take me to jail first. I will stand.
I didn't do anything that anybody. I didn't shut my business down. I never wore a mask. The only time I wore a mask is when I got on an airplane.
Now you were out here though, right? Yeah. I was out in Nevada, so it was a little bit different.
Yeah,
Like,
they were more strict. But
Yeah.
even when I went and visited out in California and everybody's in the store wearing a mask, and I was like, whatever.
yeah, I didn't
And my
either.
brother was like, did you bring a mask? I'm like, for what? It's fucking July. Like, I don't need a mask. It's not Halloween.
Well, I
Like,
mean, like,
I don't play that shit.
I went
Bodily autonomy is for everybody.
I went into a Home Depot and I was not wearing my mask, and someone walked up to me and they're like, "You need to put a mask on." I said, "I identify as a mask wearer," and I kept walking. Like, what are you gonna say to me now?
Yeah, I mean, what? I don't know. I just can't. I don't play, but I've
I
been
don't play by the same
I've
rules.
been a tinfoil hat wearer for a very long time. So
Yeah.
I mean, decades.
See, so you should have been spotting
So
those wolves a
I
long
was-
time ago. Because she's like, yeah,
But I did. But I'm nobody.
Right.
I'm nobody.
that is the biggest
Like,
problem. Is
that's the
those of
thing.
us out there
Those
that
of us
did
out there that know shit, we're nobody.
well,
Like,
that is what has saved us. To be honest with you, is us nobodies.
true.
Us nobodies who found a way to get a microphone.
Yeah.
That is what has saved us is social media. As much as I hate social media, but what has saved us is like YouTube, Rumble, having citizen journalists who got in and started having a voice, started pointing this shit out and saying no, because I can't remember who the commentator was, but it was a liberal, but he said this election was won by social media. And they're 100% true. It wasn't won by MSNBC, CNN, Fox. It wasn't won by them anymore. It was won by us because people who have something to say in a voice are picking up a microphone and speaking their truth, speaking facts, pointing things out, pointing out that we're not bigots. I mean, when we went from a white supremacist used to be the guys with the white t-shirts and the red suspenders,
Right.
and you know
Yes.
they were the white supremacists.
Yes.
And then they transferred the definition of white supremacists to anyone who disagrees.
Yeah, pretty much.
You
pretty
are now a
much.
white
Yeah,
supremacist.
it doesn't
know.
matter if you're indigenous. It doesn't matter if you're Terrence
You know, if-
Williams. It doesn't matter. None.
Yeah.
Like,
Candace Owens, biggest white
she
supremacist
is
I've ever
such
seen.
a fucking clan whore, right? Like,
Yeah,
total clan whore.
that coon just needs to get off the porch. I mean, like, so many of these Terrence Williams,
Yeah,
you mentioned him.
yeah,
you know.
like, are you kidding? Like, and
Mama
they're
just
even
used to sweep the coons off the porch with a broom. I'm not
like,
finishing that statement.
how, and they're telling them, like, they're saying you are a traitor.
You're
and
an Uncle
I'm like,
Tom. You're yeah.
how can you be like turning on your own if you want to be separate, then but you're turning on your own, like
Because
like you're eating each other alive.
but they have been so spoon-fed the bullshit.
like, you're gonna listen to this white fucking politician tell you that this black
white-
guy over here
This white
is-
politician who did the eulogy for his
this
white
bestie in the
bestie
clan.
in the clan.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
you ain't black if you don't vote for me.
yeah.
I mean, like,
Or let's go way back when he was talking about he didn't want his kids living in the same neighborhoods.
yeah.
And yeah, like
Mhm.
let's go back there.
Yeah.
Don't tell me dude turned a new leaf and he's changed and
They can
Well-
be as smart as white people.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Did you all not hear the words
you
that
all
came
said,
out of his mouth?
That sounds legit
Yeah,
to me. We can be as smart as them white kids. Like, no. I mean, how did they
Yeah.
not see that stuff
Yes.
and go,
oh my gosh, what a piece of crap.
click Candace Owens?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Yes.
You know, like, why did they not? Now, I have to say, though, we can't really say why did they not. Because they did. because they have the highest number of African Americans that vote for Donald Trump.
True.
So they did start saying, well, what?
Yeah.
You know, like a huge, we gained so many voters. Thank you, Obama. By the way,
I was just gonna say
I
that
just-
little speech he gave
I
to
just
those
want to say
men.
thank you so
and
much,
yes.
Obama. You did so much good for the MAGA movement.
For sure.
All love to you, Obama.
Donald
What
needs to send him a couple hats.
Yeah, he needs a prize of some
He
sort
does.
because more Black men
Yes.
came to vote for Trump because, excuse me, what?
Yes.
Like they were so pissed. Talk about offended. They were so freaking offended.
So offended.
Yeah. Like you could not even, there was a capital O, F, and the rest of the word.
Ended.
Ended. Yeah. Off, ended. They were so pissed.
They were.
And they were like, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were it to me, and I'm not Black. I'm not African American. I don't have slave.
Just identify one for the
for a
piece.
moment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll identify as one for a moment.
Yeah.
It was like the Black massa that owns my mama and daddy and was selling them and telling me I'm going to like it.
Yes. Yes.
That is what I feel as a Black woman that was said to me. And I said, whoa, massa, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to go vote for the white man. And especially when you had someone who she doesn't even know what she identifies as.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's Indian, she's white, she's Black. I mean, she don't.
Sometimes it's Mexicans.
She don't even know.
You don't know.
Like, it depends whether she's in Chicago or, you know,
Or
I
if
mean,
she's been drinking or
2024.
so many little pivotal options
yeah.
there. But
I want to just have one little small little into her drink. I just want to have one. Just, you know, I mean, I know.
let me unburden you for a second. Oh, stay burdened, bitch.
Let me go back to being burdened because that stuff. And it's an actual thing that I think her behavior and Obama's speech to everybody that they finally started going, what the fuck? I think there was, I mean, I'm watching this, but the facial expressions were like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
You
What were you saying? But they were
totally-
totally clapping because everybody around.
And there's cameras there. That's the only
Okay.
reason. But they were kind of blindsided, right?
Mhm.
Like they're like, well, yeah, he's the brother, but what the hell just happened? Like they all
I don't even
look
know
like,
what happened.
yes, and I think it took them a minute to
So
process.
there's been studies in the past, and I even did a test on this when I was a journalist. I did a test on this with one of my friends in New York, and it's about people's behavior
Mhm.
and how people will join in. There's also one about a teacher who was teaching about the Holocaust.
Mhm.
And she had the students were reading a book, and she said, I want you to read this book and I want you to take notes. You're going to take notes. And then she came in and she yelled at this one kid. Let's just call him Mark. And she yelled at Mark and said, you weren't taking notes. And he said, but I was taking notes. I was taking, you were not taking notes. You are going to the principal's office. And a couple other people, kids were like, but he was taking notes. Shut up. He was not taking notes. You did not see him taking notes. You are wrong. And if you speak up one more time, you're going to the principal's office. And so the kid left, went out. The rest of them shut up because they did not want to be in trouble. And then she came back in and she said, did you see how easy that was? And they were reading the book that she wrote when she was hiding.
Anne Frank.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering if you knew the book. That's the book they were reading. And she was trying to prove a point that look at how easily you are willing to go against what your eyes tell you you're seeing because you don't want to be the bad person. And then how easily we can be taught to see something that isn't there. So Harvard's done studies over the years of how you can get somebody to just follow along. You know, you get this one to do it, and then you tell them you're going to do this, and then you get the next one, and they follow and they follow and they follow, and pretty soon everyone in the room is doing the exact same thing. So I was actually writing an article about that. And I had just read this study from Harvard. So I decided I was going to practice this myself. I wanted to see if it was true. I wanted to see if this would really work. So I had a girlfriend. We went to New York City. I was working for a news in New Jersey at the time. I covered politics in New York and in New Jersey. And so I was actually in the city that day. And so I told her, I said, and we got 5 minutes and we're half hour over, but this was a really good talk.
Wow.
So, but I just looked up at the clock and I went, oh, okay. We're kind of late, but we gave you an extra half hour, people.
Wow.
So I went to, and I said, don't just copy me, but don't walk with me. Okay. And she's like, and I said, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do because I don't want you to already know. Like sometimes you do want them to have an authentic reaction. So I went to the corner where everyone is standing waiting for the walking sign. And I just looked up to the sky and I went like this. And then I started pointing and I took off my hat and I was like, do you see it? Do you see it? And then she walked up and she didn't have a hat on, but she looked up and she's like, oh my God, yeah, I see it. And she started pointing. And we're both standing there. Oh my God, I see it. Do you see it? I see it. You see it? I see it. And pretty soon, everyone standing on that corner was pointing to the sky and they were seeing it. And then I just quietly stepped off. I took a couple pictures and she saw me and we were both in the news and she stepped back and we both just stared at them and more people were joining them and they were all talking about it now. What they were seeing, where it was, what it was doing, how it was going to cause harm. Like they had their whole thing going and we're just both standing there like in awe. Like it didn't even happen. It wasn't a thing. I pointed at the empty sky and pointed out the thing up there and they all started because they don't want to be the odd man
They
out.
don't want to be excluded. They didn't
Nobody
wanna be
wants to
like-
say, what the fuck are
There's
you all
nothing
looking
there,
at?
you
There's
fucking-
nothing there, you lunatics. And
I would though.
yeah,
Like I
would have.
would. I would be like,
I would be the person that walks up and go, what are you all
I'd
staring
be
at?
like, what is it that you're seeing?
Right.
Because I'm not
what
seeing.
dumb
Is it a
shits are you-
light? Is it a fucking frog? Is it like what are we fucking looking
Is it
for?
an alien crash?
Right, like, what-
Is there a green man?
I would start asking questions, and then
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Well, y'all are fucking either
Well,
y'all are tripping,
They all kind
or
of
I'm
were,
not
but
in
they
I'm not
weren't
in the
really
same
asking
dimension."
questions. They weren't asking questions as much as they were giving answers.
Yeah,
They were telling each other what they were seeing. They were telling each other what was happening, and none of that was true.
but they're not seeing anything
because they wanted to believe
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
and they wanted to continue it, but they also then each individual that started doing that, they wanted to become the one that knows. I know the answers to which you are seeking, so I am going to answer them for you. Don't you feel blessed that I am here?
That's crazy.
It
it's
is.
crazy.
It is.
But you're right, though. A
And then,
majority of the people.
So what I did to finish
Would-
it was I walked up to these people one by one and I said, "Excuse me, what do you see up there?" And they're like, "Well, it's right there. Don't you see it?" And I'm like, "No, I don't see anything. I think you're crazy. Like there's nothing there. You're pointing at an empty sky." And then the one who was really kind of now taking the lead of it, I walked over and I said, "You do know I pointed up at the sky first, and I said that just to see how many people would follow." And they're like, "What? No, you didn't." I'm like, yeah, kind of I did. And that wasn't one of the people there when I started. And that's the thing is people also get like where they had things to do and places to go. So people meandered off and others joined to the point where the ones that joined were now being fed the information from the ones that are still there. And then, and I'm sure the other ones went home going, "Oh my God, today I was standing on the street corner and we saw an alien ship. We were all there. There was 20 of us. We all saw it." And they saw nothing. But now in their mind, they were there that day. We saw the alien ship come down into New York City.
Yep.
And that's how so you asked how it starts. That's how it starts. That little tiny bit of a wolf coming in, and they just start taking over and they feed off of it. And we allowed it. But it stops with us.
I know. But
It's like
I'm
the
like,
movie. This ends with us.
I guess my whole thing with it too is what was the end game with it all?
To destroy this country, in my opinion.
Are they thinking that everybody's just gonna flip sexes all of a sudden and be like, "Well, fuck, let's give it a try"? I mean, every fucking Marge and Stan next door doing it. I mean, you should have seen Stan in Marge's fucking shoes. He looked great. Like I would have never thought that he would look so good in them heels.
He looks better in her dress than she did.
Was this the end game for our country?
That's the thing is I don't
Because it's such a fucking small percentage.
and
So
I
why
don't know what the end game is other than total destruction.
that can only that's the only thing that it could be,
Because then it would they would it's almost like then they would become the rulers and we would become the peasants that would shine their
you don't
shine their polish my fucking shoes.
Well, that movie, is it Hunger Games, where like the head person, is it Lady Gaga that is, I don't know, but they have like white makeup and their hair's all big and
Oh,
poofy.
yeah,
Is
I
it
don't-
Hunger Games or
No, I think that was a different one. I think it was
Divergent or something? But
I think it was in Hunger. I don't remember.
But like the leader of the,
the leader in Hunger
everything.
Games was a man.
but you couldn't really tell.
No, he was a man.
Okay, then it wasn't.
That wasn't
the
Hunger
Hunger
Games.
Games. It
No.
was a different
No.
movie, but the leader, like you really couldn't tell if
Yeah.
it was a man or a woman, or kind of like
Well,
in Alice in Wonderland, the queen.
Yeah.
You know, is
All I can say is when it comes down to those type of questions, I would say what it really comes down to is good and evil, God and Satan. Satan wants all his disciples and all his people to destroy all of humanity, so there is no humanity left. Because look at how angry and hateful we were becoming.
Mhm.
It was feeding into that. I believe in loving each other and loving freely and everything, but there comes a point where I have to stand for myself. And if it wasn't for people taking a voice up, we would still be succumbing to this.
Mhm.
Because it would have continued and continued and continued until there was nothing left.
Mhm.
And those of us who would be fighting against that would be hiding in the woods. Because I'm not going to take the jab and I'm not going to let my husband wear a dress. Like I would never have gone down that road, and I would not have, succumbed to that. And what I see that is part of the revelations in the Bible. And the 666 is not like they're literally going to stamp 666 on your forehead. Is it a jab type of thing? Is it paying for everything with your wrist? What is it? Is it that you don't succumb to this and become one of us?
That's a whole other topic.
That's a whole
girl. I dived so deep into that. Like,
yeah. So I mean,
here's a little thing: the letter W
mhm,
in Hebrew
mhm.
is pronounced Vav. It is also the number 6.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, that is a whole nother show.
So we have a WWW.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like I could spend 2 weeks on that topic.
Well, I mean, so the end game,
but it
is
does say in
destruction.
Revelation is the money. It's money. The mark is
money
to buy and sell,
mm-hmm.
and that's it. Like that's it. This jabby jab, I really believe, was
a
testing ground to see how the nano
how
was going to
we
work.
are.
Well, but also testing the product.
Yep.
To see how that nanotechnology and that mRNA was going to play out
mm-hmm.
on a large scale with people.
Right.
And so I also believe they're trying to track down bloodlines too.
That wouldn't be surprising, to be honest with you. I really do.
Like I believe that with my whole soul, that they created this for different reasons, because the COVID-19 was real.
But it's been around for a long time.
Intentionally spread, intentionally offered into the population, and don't think for a second gain of function isn't still going on. It's still going on. Those are the things that we need to be looking at, not the fucking 0.003% of the population. Yeah, like that's over, in my opinion. Like, we're done with that. Trump has said there's only 2 genders.
And that's one of those things.
Let them clean up that mess.
I would look at it like this. We've bit this one off. Now we go after the next thing. And we have to continue that path of getting to all these other agendas that are that are parasites under the ground growing, the weeds, the wolves that are over here that we don't see right now because we're too focused on this wolf that we're not seeing this wolf. So yeah, I think there's so much more to it. This is just the beginning of uncovering all the deception and all the bad things that really are happening. That if it wasn't for citizen journalists, if it wasn't for people that are willing to get on camera, get on a mic and talk about what they see, what they hear, what they know, the people they talk to. This Bach was part of the CIA. He knows what it was like when they were hunting down Osama bin Laden compared to today. So, like, we have to start listening to these people who are not doing something for nefarious reasons.
Right. Yes.
And we have to be, and I love that they're getting voices. Like Megyn Kelly walked away from all that shit. Sure, she was fired, but she was given a lot of money and she probably could have gone to another network. She probably could have gone somewhere and done something. But she said, no, I'm going to do my own stuff because then nobody can tell me to shut up. Nobody can correct what I'm saying or stifle my voice. And the more we have of people doing that, the more honest and truth that we're going to be able to uncover, reveal, and share to the populace, so that those people who are still watching those things and they're getting little tiny sound bites, $5,000 ain't going to do nothing for nobody. That makes them question just enough to go and say, I wonder what Tucker Carlson says. Because I remember him when he was on that show that I hated.
Yeah.
I wonder what Megyn Kelly says. I wonder, even if they haven't been watching her at all, all they do all of a sudden is Google Megyn Kelly. I wonder what she's saying.
Mhm.
Oh, she has a show? Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to go watch her last episode.
Right.
This one. Oh my God. Now I'm
Mhm.
going to go watch another one. And then they're going to be revealed that like she was so anti-Trump,
Mhm.
and to see where she has changed. She was so pro-trans. Absolutely. 1000% pro-trans. Pro non-binary, pro genders, pro pronouns, pro
Mm.
everything, because she had bought into it
Mm.
until she was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening here? And she woke up and she realized this is not okay.
Mhm.
This is not okay. This is not okay. And then she said, whoa, none of it's okay. Because you do have to, at some point,
Yeah,
start putting all the pieces together.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyway, we are way
Yeah,
over our
way
time,
over.
people.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry, but it was a great conversation, a great topic. But we are over. We need to go. So you guys can go.
Yeah.
And we will see you again tomorrow.
Thanks for hanging out though.
Yes, thanks for
Like,
hanging in
that's-
there. And we will see you tomorrow when we talks about it again. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Girl Talks, GURLTAUX, and we will talks about it tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.